how to be consistent with workouts while pursuing other aspects of life, full-time job, etc. I think this is a great question. Jeff, why don't you kind of share some of this? Because I know you just started a new career working at the, well, you share. I'm not going to share your story. You started a job, right? You're kind of made a promotion in your career, and you're juggling a lot of things, right? You're juggling, working at the music school. You're juggling working as, part-time fitness coach, and you're juggling your own personal fitness as well as, being a husband and all that kind of stuff. Like, how do you manage this?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yeah, I just got a big promotion at work, so now I'm one of the directors at the music school where I've been teaching for the past 11 years.
Right.
And I also play in a band on the weekends too, which is a big part of my income, and I'm also doing fitness coaching too on the side as well. I think the thing that I focus on is just prioritizing. Right. It's such a big thing. Like I hear people all the time say that they don't have time to work out. But really it's not about having the time to work out, because everybody's busy. Everybody has a full-time job. Everybody has family obligations. It's about prioritizing. If you really want something, then you're going to go and you're going to do it. You're going to get it. So it's about planning out, is seeing what your weekly schedule looks like and making a plan around what your schedule is. Yep. If you have something coming up that's going to be an entire day event, plan around it, make it work. How can you make it work? How can you make it fit in? Do you have a busy day, 8-hour day ahead of you, and you know that you're going to get home from work late and you're not going to have time to meal prep or cook food or something like that? Then cook it during the day. Get up earlier, plan your meals out for the day, store them, and then that way when it's time to eat, you have a healthy option available and you're not going to go out and get McDonald's or make some kind of poor choices. Sure. I'm on the road all weekend. I leave my house on Friday and I drive to my singer's house, and I'm playing Friday night, Saturday night, and I come home on Sunday in the afternoon. Okay. Friday, I wake up early and I plan out my entire weekend of meals.
Gotcha.
I'll cook. I've been doing it now for 5-6 years, so I have a good idea of what I can cook up real fast and that stores really well that I can take with me. That's really, really easy. Things like ground chicken, ground beef, ground game meat, things like that. They store really, really well. Rice, overnight oats are great.
Yeah.
So that, in terms of nutrition, in terms of workouts and getting your workouts in, I have no problem getting up and doing a short workout if I need to. So, because something is always better than nothing.
Because I think this is one of the things that we could really, how do you be consistent is giving yourself permission to do short workouts when needed to kind of keep that habit alive. Because a big issue that a lot of people have is this mental block. And I'm speaking from experience because I used to have this as well, thinking like, if I don't have 2 hours to go to the gym, I don't have time to work out. Mm-hmm. Or if I don't have at least an hour to do cardio, then I don't have time to do cardio. And that's not the case, because you can get a lot done in a shorter block of time, a much shorter block. Like, even if you've got 10 minutes, like, you can do something in 10 minutes. Yeah. And this was a game changer for me. But like, how do you go about it? Like, implementing the shorter workouts when needed?
Well, when I started out, I used to try to do everything. So I go to the gym, or I work out from home. So I have all my equipment out at home, but I would try to bounce around and try to do like 5, 6, 7 different exercises all in one single workout, 4 sets each, and just thinking that I had to do everything. Right. Now I streamline it down. I'll go down to the basement. I'm doing 3, maybe 4 exercises, 3 to 4 sets each. And what I focus on is giving a lot of effort into those sets. I really feel it's more about quality than it is about quantity. So lowering the volume and trying to make strength gains on the big compound lifts, things like dips and overhead head pressing,
Yeah.
squats, deadlifts, the big lifts, the ones that take a lot of energy, that require your entire body to do.
Mhm.
And I'm doing 3 to 4 sets on each one of those 3 exercises, and I'm pushing hard. I'm going close to muscular failure on most of my sets, at least 2 to 3 reps close to muscular failure.
Mhm.
But if I go down there with that, if I'm focused and I go down into the basement with knowing that I'm going to do those 2 to 3 exercises and I time my rest periods and everything like that, I can be out of there in 30 to 45 minutes. I mean, I'll cut it down. If I need 20 to 30 minutes, I'll cut it down to 2 exercises.
Right.
And I'll do that.
Okay.
So it doesn't need to be an hour and a half. I mean, I love doing hour and a half exercises, taking my time and doing a little bit of fluff work at the end too, like some curls, some extra arm reps, things like that, just because it's the fun stuff.
Sure.
The fun stuff. If I have time, I'll do all that stuff. But if I'm strapped for time, I'm getting in there. I'm doing the big lifts and I'm pushing hard. 2 to 3 sets per exercise, 3 to 4 exercises a workout.
Gotcha. That's cool. I like how you break it down like that. And I think the big thing again is just realizing something's better than nothing. And the thing that you got to look at when it comes to this whole thing is you just got to be better than you were before. Like that's it. Better than you were before. And one of the problems I find a lot of people get caught up in is they're following so many people on social media, on YouTube and Instagram, and seeing all these workouts, and like you're seeing. And first off, anybody who's posting videos on YouTube, like chances are they are more advanced. They're very serious. They're very committed. Like nobody just posts up stuff on YouTube like, oh, I don't care about it. It's a new hobby. I just randomly post stuff up. Like they're the exception, not the rule, right? Like a lot of times people think, well, everybody who works out must have 6-pack abs, and everybody who works out must be repping out with 315 on the bench, and like everybody who works out must be deadlifting 500 pounds and blah, blah, blah. No, like you go into the average gym, that's not the case. All right. So you don't need to try and match Joe Blow on YouTube or Instagram or, Joe Blow pro bodybuilder and what he's doing. You just got to be better than you were before. So like if your current baseline is nothing, then something's better than nothing. And give yourself permission to do that something and not get hung up on trying to beat what the other guys are doing, especially when you're looking at high level athletes and professional bodybuilders or whatever. So really breaking it down and just thinking like, what do you need to do to be better than you were before? And sometimes that's very small. Very small. Like I know in my case, when I'm trying to lose the dad bod after I really let myself go, I gave myself permission to do 10-minute workouts. And I actually wrote a blog post about this, and it's up on my main blog, leehayward.com, if you want to go check it out. But it talks about, giving yourself permission to do these mini workouts. And what I found is throughout the day, you may not have 2 hours to spare, but there's probably lots of times where you've got 10 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe a half hour, like little blocks of time that you can spare. And taking advantage of those little blocks of time can be a game changer, especially if you're struggling with getting started. So one thing that I used to do is if I had 10 minutes, like I could go for a little 10-minute walk around the block. I just literally put on my sneakers, the loop around my block here, it literally takes me just over 10 minutes to complete. So I very often would do the whole loop, but sometimes it would be just put on the sneakers, walk up the road for 5 minutes, turn around and walk back. And that would be my 10-minute walk. Other times it might be, I've got 10 minutes. I'm going to do a little circuit of push-ups and body weight squats and some ab work, like push-ups, body weight squats and crunches, and just alternate that in a circuit for 10 minutes. And I know it doesn't sound like much, like 10 minutes, but you'd be amazed at how challenging that is to do push-ups, squats, abs, we rest 30 seconds and repeat, and do that for 10 minutes. Like that will whip anybody's ass because that's a very challenging workout. And no equipment, hardly any time, like 10 minutes, right? I mean, like you can do it pretty much anywhere. So like giving yourself permission to do little things like that can make a big difference. And it's especially helpful for people who are busy and you're finding it hard to fit in that time, giving yourself that permission. Other things I find too is being flexible And this is something that I've like, ideally I want to have a structure where I work out early in the morning, because early in the morning, that's when your willpower and your motivation is at its highest. And then as the day progresses, willpower tends to dwindle as fatigue sets in and everything else. You're more likely to make poorer choices as you're getting tired and fatigued, but still being open to that flexibility. Whereas, like, if I can't work out first thing in the morning, well, maybe I can do it on my lunch break. Maybe I can do it right after work, or sometimes I do have to work out in the evening, but being open to those different scenarios and willing to fit it in when needed. And I find that that's another thing that really helps. But
yeah, I think too, another thing too is finding the time, like what the time wasters in your life,
yes.
Like moments, things like where you're scrolling Facebook, social media, whatnot for half hour, 20 minutes, something like that. Or you could cut that out. Like there's everybody has things in their life where there's like moments or whatnot where they're just wasting time.
Yeah.
Like find what those things are. What are the daily time wasters in your life, and how can you eliminate those to make more time for working out or for meal prepping? How can you prioritize your time better?
Yeah. There's one we can even step that up kind of like another notch. And this was something that I was actually learning from the book Atomic Habits. I'm going through that book again for the umpteenth time. I got a copy of it right here. For those of you who are regulars, you've heard me mention this before, but Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you're looking for a book recommendation, get that one. I don't recommend too many books, but like, this is a game changer. I got the hard copy. I got it on Audible.
Yep, I got it on the audio book too.
Yeah, but I'm going through it again, and one thing that we can do there, like, you're just to piggyback on what Jeff was saying, like the time wasters. Let's say you love social media, scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, or you love watching shows on Netflix. How can we piggyback that and make it more productive? Like, maybe we could set up a treadmill in front of the television, so when you're watching your favorite show on Netflix, you're getting your cardio in as well, right? If you have some sort of cardio machine at home, be it a treadmill or an elliptical or a bike or whatnot, you could do cardio while you're watching your show. So when you want to binge watch Netflix, well, you got to binge exercise at the same time, right? Because you're going to be exercising. And James actually gave an example of someone who kind of took this to the extreme, where he had it set up. His television would not power unless his stationary bike was pedaling. He was like an engineer, and he rigged it up somehow that the TV wouldn't operate unless the bike was spinning. So if he wanted to watch TV, someone had to be riding that bike, right? So you're getting exercise if you're watching TV. So, I mean, that's really, now you don't need to be that strict. Like, you could literally just have the cardio machine there. And I did that myself for years. Like, that's how I got a lot of my cardio done, especially back when I was competing in bodybuilding, is I had an elliptical machine set up in my rec room in front of the television. And if I wanted to watch shows or movies or whatever, I'd do it while doing cardio. So, I mean, that's one way that you can piggyback your time wasters and actually make them more productive. You could also do it for social media as well. Like, if you love scrolling through Facebook, well, maybe you do it while you're working out. So you do a set, and then during your rest period, you can scroll through social media for a minute or so, but then make sure you get back and do another set. Like that requires a little bit more self-control, because you don't want to end up having a 10-minute gap between sets now because you're scrolling through social media. But like, if you literally just scroll a little bit, do a set, scroll a little bit, do a set, you could piggyback some of those not so productive habits and actually make them more productive by piggybacking it with your workouts.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of strategies, to make this more effective, but it's ultimately coming down to finding what works best for you in your situation, and be willing to try and experiment, right?
Yeah. It's compounding habits.
Yeah. Compounding habits.
Exactly.
For sure.